who I played golf with, you know that, right? And he is Harry, who's been fantastic. I think they perhaps made a mistake when they made him a defensive player. What do I know about soccer? They took the league and they took their best player and then put him on defense.
On reflection, you've had 48 hours to think about it. Donald Trump's even had a word about it today and had his opinion today. On reflection, 48 hours after, how do you
use Donald Trump as your witness for the case, or?
No. I'm just saying he's had his opinion. Yeah.
They say football and politics don't mix. Well, at this World Cup, the President of the United States just told England's manager he doesn't know how to coach. And the manager fired back with 4 words that sent the entire tournament into chaos. Do you use Donald Trump as your witness? That was Thomas Tuchel's response when a reporter dared mention the president's opinion on his tactics, and it exposes a crisis that goes far deeper than one semi-final loss. It exposes a system failure so complete that the most powerful man on earth felt compelled to weigh in on a substitution. This is the story of how England's World Cup dream died, not on the pitch, but on the tactical board, and how the fallout is still exploding right now. Let's start with what actually happened. Wednesday, July 15th, 2026, Atlanta, World Cup semi-final, England versus Argentina. The stage was set, 55,000 fans packed into the stadium, millions watching around the globe. England had been grinding through this tournament. Not pretty, not flashy, but effective. They reached the semi-final, and they were 45 minutes away from the final. Anthony Gordon scored in the 55th minute, a breakthrough. England won, Argentina 0. The dream was alive. And then Thomas Tuchel made a decision that would define his entire tenure as England manager. Problem number 1, the tactics. England were leading 1-0 with 30 minutes to play, and Tuchel did something that left even the Argentine players stunned. He switched to a back 5. He took off Reece James and Declan Rice, 2 of his most influential midfielders, and he brought on Dan Burn and Nico O'Reilly. More defenders, more bodies behind the ball. By the end of the match, England had 6 defenders on the pitch. 6. Harry Kane, England's captain, their all-time leading goal scorer, the man who has scored more goals than any active player in international football, was instructed to drop deep into his own half, behind the ball, defending. England controlled just 12% of the ball in the closing stages. 12%. They weren't parking the bus. They were building a fortress around it and locking the gates. And then Messi happened. Lionel Messi had been quiet by his standards. But quiet for Messi is still dangerous for everyone else. In the 85th minute, he found the space that Tuchel's defensive wall had accidentally created. He picked out Enzo Fernandez. 1-1. The fortress crumbled. And then in stoppage time, 92nd minute, Messi again. This time Lautaro Martinez was the recipient. 2-1. Argentina. England's World Cup was over in 5 minutes. 5 minutes of madness that cost England their first World Cup final in 60 years. And the man responsible for those 5 minutes was standing on the touchline, watching it unfold. Problem number 2. The players knew. Within hours of the final whistle, reports began leaking out of the England camp. BBC Sport revealed that a number of key players had been left disappointed by the instructions to hold on. Not frustrated, not annoyed, disappointed. That word carries weight. It means the players in the dressing room looked at what was happening on the pitch and they disagreed with the man giving the orders. Harry Kane himself admitted that trying to hold on to a 1-0 lead had backfired. The captain, the man who was told to defend, the man who Trump would later say was misused, he knew it, the players knew it. And here's the most damning detail. The Argentine players were stunned. Yahoo Sports reported that Argentina's squad was shocked by the defensive nature of England's response to taking the lead. The opposition, the team trying to beat England, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. They expected England to push for a second goal, to kill the game. Instead, England retreated, gave them the ball. Problem number 3, and this is where it gets unprecedented. Enter Donald Trump, the President of the United States. On Friday, July 17th, Trump held a reception at Trump Tower with FIFA President Gianni Infantino. And during that reception, the most powerful man in the world decided to give his tactical analysis of England's World Cup exit. He said, "You have a great player in England who I played golf with. His name is Harry. He's been fantastic. I think they perhaps made a mistake when they made him a defensive player. What do I know about soccer? They took the lead and they took their best player and put him on defense. We've got to be a little offensive, right? Now stop for a second and think about what just happened. The President of the United States, a man with no professional football experience, felt confident enough in his tactical analysis to publicly question the decisions of one of the most decorated club managers in world football. Thomas Tuchel has won the Champions League. He has managed Chelsea, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich. He has coached at the highest level of the sport for over a decade. And the President of the United States just told the world he made a mistake. And here's the thing, Trump wasn't entirely wrong. The tactical decisions were questionable. The substitutions were defensive. Kane was deployed deep. The stats back it up. 12% possession, 6 defenders on the pitch, 2 goals conceded in 5 minutes. But being right about the problem doesn't make you the right person to point it out. And that's where this story takes another turn. Because Thomas Tuchel was asked about Trump's comments in his press conference on Friday. And his response was ice cold. Do you use Donald Trump as your witness for the case? That's what he said. Not angry, not defensive, ice. He didn't engage with the substance of Trump's criticism. He didn't explain his tactics. He didn't defend the substitutions. He simply questioned whether Donald Trump was the authority a journalist wanted to cite in a tactical debate. And then he doubled down. He said, we defended in a deep block. That's what you do if you defend in a block. You defend in a block. We were not active enough. We could not escape the deep block. The team spirit, the togetherness, the mentality that this team built in the last 6.5 weeks is not to be questioned. And then came the line that defined the entire press conference. If drama is needed, if the blame game needs to be played, okay, we can do that, but I have the right to not engage. Tuchel wasn't just dismissing Trump. He was dismissing the entire criticism, the pundits, the players who leaked their disappointment, the journalists asking the questions, all of it. He drew a line and said, I am not playing this game. And when asked if he had any regrets, his answer was equally defiant. I felt that we had to do something different for the team. And I took a decision, trusting my instinct, my intuition, my experience. I would regret it if we didn't react. But I have no regrets over the decision itself. No regrets. England lost a World Cup semi-final after leading 1-0. They conceded 2 goals in 5 minutes. Their captain was deployed as a defender. The President of the United States criticized the tactics. And Thomas Tuchel has no regrets. Now here's where the story gets even bigger. Because while all of this is happening, England still have a match to play today. Saturday, July 18th, England face France in the third-place playoff in Miami. The match no one wants to play in. That's what Tuchel called it. The bronze medal match. The consolation game. The match that exists only because FIFA decided the World Cup should have a loser's bracket, and England have to play it. 24 hours after their manager was publicly embarrassed by the president of the host nation. 48 hours after their World Cup dream died, in 5 minutes of tactical madness, they have to walk out in Miami and play France. And the cameras will be on Tuchel every second, every substitution, every tactical adjustment, every time he reaches for his notebook. The world will be watching to see if he learns from the semi-final or if he doubles down again. Because the FA has confirmed that Tuchel retains their support. ESPN reports he is expected to remain in charge through to Euro 2028. So this is not a man who is about to be fired. This is a man who has been backed by his federation. A man who has no regrets. A man who is preparing to manage England for another 2 years. And that raises the biggest question of all. If the tactics were wrong, if the players were disappointed, if the opposition was stunned, if the President of the United States felt the need to comment, and if the manager has no regrets and refuses to engage with any of it, then what exactly is the plan? What is the vision? Where does England go from here? They say the World Cup reveals everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, this World Cup has revealed an England team that was 45 minutes from glory and chose to retreat. A manager who trusts his instincts, even when those instincts lead to disaster, and a political firestorm that has turned a football match into an international incident. The final is tomorrow. Spain versus Argentina, Messi versus Yamal, destiny versus the new generation. But the real story of this World Cup might not be who lifts the trophy. It might be how England lost theirs. So I'll ask you this, was Tuchel right to trust his instincts, or should he have gone for the kill when he had Argentina on the ropes? And should Donald Trump be commenting on football tactics, or should he stick to golf? Let me know down below.